Two major weather models are telling completely different stories right now. One says the Northeast gets buried under 2 feet of snow this weekend. The other says you won't see a single flake. Meanwhile, Valentine's Day dinner plans across Texas and the Deep South could get interrupted by tornadoes. And the Sierra Nevada is about to receive 122 inches of snow over the next 10 days. That's the kind of forecast uncertainty that keeps meteorologists up at night. And honestly, I haven't seen models disagree this dramatically in quite some time. I've got 90 cities to break down today. Plus, I'll tell you at the end which model I think is going to verify. That's a prediction you can absolutely hold me accountable for tomorrow. So drop your city in the comments and let's figure out together what's actually heading your way over the next 72 hours. Now here's why this matters. If the European model is right, we're looking at a potentially historic nor'easter that bombs out off the East Coast with 1 to 2 feet of snow from the Poconos to Long Island. But if the GFS model is right, the whole thing stays offshore and the I-95 corridor sees essentially nothing. Zero accumulation. Just another gray February weekend. The AI Ensemble, which has honestly been outperforming both major models this winter, is siding with the European, and that's got my attention. For those of you who remember the President's Day storms of 2003 or the Valentine's blizzard back in 2007, this setup has some familiar characteristics that are worth watching closely. The pattern we've been tracking for weeks finally arrived. February 10th was our target date for a significant shift, and boy did it deliver. Temperatures across the heartland surged 30 to 40 degrees above normal. Kansas City hit the low 70s yesterday, while the Gulf Coast pushed into the upper 70s and low 80s. But here's the thing about that warmth. It's fuel for the storm machine that's cranking up right now off the California coast. As this system crosses the Rockies and taps into Gulf moisture, we're looking at precipitable water values running 300 to 400% above normal by Saturday. When you get that kind of moisture colliding with Arctic air still locked up across the northern tier, the atmosphere responds with serious weather on both sides of the temperature line. Heavy snow on the cold side, severe thunderstorms on the warm side, and right now, millions of Americans are in the crosshairs of one or the other. Before we dive into the city-by-city breakdown, let me give you the big picture timeline so you know exactly when to pay attention. Today through Thursday is the calm before the storm. A clipper brings light snow to the Great Lakes and Northeast. Nothing major, just typical February stuff. Friday is when the main event starts developing across Arizona and northwestern Mexico, with moisture surging into the Four Corners and southern plains. Saturday is game day. The low slides through Texas Hill Country. Severe weather fires up from Dallas to Memphis, and that's when Valentine's dinner plans could get dicey. Saturday night into Sunday, if you're in the Northeast, that's your window. Either the nor'easter develops and you're shoveling for days, or it stays offshore and you dodge the bullet. All right, let's get into the cities because I know that's what you came here for. Starting with the Northeast, where this model disagreement really matters. New York City. And I'll be straight with you. Today looks fine at 48 degrees with no snow. But don't let that fool you into thinking you're in the clear for the weekend. If the European model verifies, the 5 boroughs could be looking at significant accumulation by Sunday night. Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, all of it under the gun. Boston is sitting at 32 degrees with just a trace of snow today, but here's what Boston needs to understand. You're right in the sweet spot if this thing bombs out into a full nor'easter. Anyone who lived through the blizzard of '78, or more recently the 2015 blockbuster, knows what a real nor'easter can do to this city. So keep your eyes open. Now Philadelphia and Pittsburgh tell two very different stories today. Philly is mild at 39 degrees with no snow, while Pittsburgh is the cold spot at just 20 degrees with a trace. That cold air locked up in Pittsburgh is exactly what we need in place for any significant snow event this weekend. It's like having the refrigerator door already open. Buffalo, and you folks already know what's coming, nearly 2 inches of lake effect today at 20 degrees. The machine over Lake Erie just keeps cranking. What I find fascinating about Buffalo's lake effect is how localized it gets. You can have 4 inches in Cheektowaga and barely a coating in Tonawanda just a few miles away. Rochester and Syracuse are both in that lake effect zone too, looking at traces to light accumulation with temps in the low 20s, typical upstate New York winter. Newark and Jersey City, you're both sitting at 29 degrees with light precipitation possible, and here's the deal. You're positioned right on that knife edge between a big snow event and a miss. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore present an interesting contrast. D.C. is milder at 41 degrees, while Baltimore sits at freezing with some light precipitation expected. For those of you in the D.C. area, the European model specifically highlights West Virginia Panhandle through the Shenandoah Valley for potentially significant snow Saturday into Sunday. If you've got Valentine's Day plans that involve driving through those mountains, you might want to have a backup plan ready just in case. The Hartford, Providence, Worcester corridor is all looking at similar conditions. Low 30s with traces of snow, and all three cities could see significant accumulation if the coastal storm develops. Albany in the capital region, you're at the northern edge of this potential snow zone, and honestly, you might end up being the jackpot location if the storm tracks just right. Are any of you in New England already seeing flakes this morning? Drop your location in the comments because real-time reports from folks on the ground are incredibly valuable. Shifting gears to the Great Lakes and Midwest now, and this is where the Arctic air has really dug in. These temperatures demand your respect. Chicago, the Windy City, is earning its nickname today at 24 degrees with about an inch of snow expected. Enough to make the evening commute interesting, so give yourself extra time. If your car battery is more than 3 years old, this is the kind of cold that reminds you it's time for a new one. Don't find out the hard way tomorrow morning. Detroit sits at 23 degrees with half an inch of snow, and the lake effect off Lake Huron is adding to your totals. Pretty standard February fare for the Motor City. Cleveland and the lake effect machine over Lake Erie are at it again. 29 degrees with traces of snow today, but those bands keep stacking up band after band through the week. St. Paul right next door at the same 16 degrees. The Twin Cities are locked in the deep freeze, and honestly, you folks are used to this, but it doesn't make it any less brutal. The I-94 corridor from Milwaukee through Chicago is going to require serious patience tomorrow. Milwaukee at 22 degrees with light snow. Roads will be slick. Indianapolis and Columbus are telling a similar story. Indy at 25 degrees with an inch of snow. Columbus at 34 with half an inch. Manageable, but don't get complacent on the roads. Cincinnati, Louisville, and Lexington form that Ohio Valley transitional zone. Temps in the low to mid-30s, right on that rain-snow line where things can flip quickly. St. Louis and Kansas City. What a temperature whiplash you're experiencing. KC dropped from 70 degrees yesterday to 24 today, and your body definitely feels that kind of swing. Fort Wayne and Toledo are the cold spots in their respective states. Fort Wayne at just 15 degrees, Toledo at 16. These are genuine Arctic temperatures that demand preparation. Madison, Wisconsin at 19 degrees, Grand Rapids at similar temps. The entire Great Lakes region is locked in winter's grip and showing no signs of letting up this week. Omaha and Lincoln are both in the low 20s with traces of snow. The plains are cold and quiet for now, but that changes when this weekend's system arrives. Wichita at 24 degrees. Des Moines at similar temps. If you're farming or ranching out there, you know the drill with this kind of cold, but please check on your livestock and neighbors. Quick question for my Midwest folks. Are you seeing snow bands moving through right now? Your real-time reports help me verify what the radar and models are showing. Now let's head out west, because this is where the story becomes genuinely exciting for anyone who cares about drought and water supplies. The Sierra Nevada is about to get absolutely crushed. We're talking 122 additional inches of snow over the next 10 days. That's equivalent to 7 to 9 feet of fresh powder. For skiers and snowboarders, this is Christmas come early in February. Tahoe, Mammoth, all the resorts are going to be drowning in the good stuff. But for anyone trying to cross those mountain passes, I-80 over Donner, Highway 50 over Echo Summit, chain requirements will be in effect and roads may close entirely. The water implications are huge. California, Colorado, and Utah have been running at record low snowpack this winter, so every inch that falls matters for summer water supplies. Denver is finally seeing some legitimate winter action at 25 degrees with 2 inches of snow expected. The Front Range has been waiting for this after a painfully slow start to the season. Colorado Springs and Aurora are in similar conditions, mid-20s with traces to light snow. The entire Denver metro is going to look and feel like winter today. Salt Lake City sits right at freezing with no snow at lower elevations, but the Wasatch Mountains behind you are getting hammered. Great news for the ski industry and water storage. Boise at 25 degrees, Spokane at similar temps. The inland Northwest is cold, but the real action is in the higher elevations where feet of snow are piling up. Seattle and Portland are both in the low 40s with light rain. You folks are dodging the winter weather this round, but the Cascades are absolutely getting buried. Reno sits at 33 degrees right on that rain-snow line. And if you're planning any travel to or from the Tahoe area, seriously, check conditions before you go. The California coast from San Francisco to San Diego is doing what California does in winter. Mild temps in the 50s and 60s, light rain possible up north, dry down south. Los Angeles at 51, San Diego at 60, Phoenix at 62, Las Vegas at 51. If you're watching from the southwest, enjoy it, and maybe call your relatives up north to check on them. Tucson, Albuquerque, El Paso, the desert southwest corridor is mild and dry. Nothing to worry about weather-wise, just typical February conditions. Honolulu, for those of you watching from Paradise at 75 degrees, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little jealous right now. Enjoy it for the rest of us. Anchorage, you're dealing with real winter at 19 degrees with 2 inches of snow. Typical Alaska February. Nothing you can't handle up there. Now we need to talk about the South, because this is where Valentine's Day weekend could get genuinely dangerous. And I'm not talking about bad restaurant reservations. The Storm Prediction Center has already circled Saturday and Sunday on the calendar for a significant severe weather outbreak from Texas through the deep South. Dallas-Fort Worth, and I need you to pay attention here. You're setting at a pleasant 47 degrees today. But Saturday afternoon into evening, the atmosphere is going to explode. We're talking damaging winds, large hail possible, and yes, isolated tornadoes are absolutely on the table. This is not the weekend to ignore your weather alerts. If you've got Valentine's dinner reservations at that nice restaurant in Dallas, maybe have a backup plan in case you need to shelter instead of sipping wine. Houston, Austin, San Antonio, the Texas Triangle is all in the mid to upper 40s today, mild and quiet. But the southern fringes of the severe threat could clip you Saturday night. Oklahoma City and Tulsa, you're both in the 35 to 38 degree range today, but by Saturday afternoon, you're right in the bullseye for severe thunderstorms. The Storm Prediction Center specifically mentions the Oklahoma, Arkansas, North Texas corridor for rotating storms with tornado potential. Please know where your safe room is. Little Rock, Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi, you're all in that enhanced severe weather zone for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Take this seriously, folks. If you remember the Valentine's Day tornado outbreak of 2008, or the February 2016 severe weather event, this setup has some of those same ingredients. Nashville sits at 41 degrees with light rain today, and after everything Nashville went through recently with power outages, I genuinely hope the grid holds up if severe weather hits. Birmingham, Montgomery, and the Alabama corridor, you're looking at 40s today, but Sunday morning could bring the severe threat your direction as the system moves east. Atlanta and Charlotte are both at 42 degrees with light rain. You're on the southern periphery of the severe threat, but I still want you staying weather aware this weekend. The Raleigh-Durham-Greensboro Triangle is all in the low 40s with light rain expected. Wet weekend coming, but severe weather risk is lower for the Carolinas this time. Here's the flooding concern I'm tracking. Scattered flash flood threats from Little Rock through Texarkana Saturday, then shifting into southeastern Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas Sunday. When you combine heavy rainfall with saturated ground from recent storms, even 2 to 3 inches can cause serious problems. Stay out of flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. Florida, you're mostly in the clear. Jacksonville at 59, Orlando at 66, Tampa at 62, Miami at 70. Warm and quiet while the rest of us deal with winter. New Orleans at 55 degrees with light rain. You're on the southern edge of everything, but keep an eye on conditions Saturday night just to be safe. For anyone in the severe weather zone with Valentine's Day plans, here's my honest advice. Have a way to receive warnings wherever you are. Restaurant, movie theater, wherever. Tornadoes don't care that it's a romantic holiday, and being prepared doesn't mean being paranoid. It just means being smart about the situation. All right, looking beyond this weekend, the pattern remains active through late February and into early March. Winter is not done with us yet. Between February 16th and the 23rd, troughs continue digging into Southern California and the Four Corners, bringing more beneficial mountain snow and potential storm development. The last week of February through March 1st, models are showing signals for another potentially significant system that could impact the upper Midwest and possibly the Northeast. For those of you tired of winter, I hear you. But for the water supply out west and the ski industry, this active pattern is exactly what the doctor ordered. Temperature trends show warmer air favored across the heartland through Valentine's Day. Then colder air tries to make a comeback during the last week of February. The European and GFS have been swinging wildly on the long range. Yesterday showed colder, today much warmer. So anything past day 7, take it with a grain of salt. What we can say with confidence is this pattern stays active, which means opportunities for significant weather events keep coming, even if we can't nail down specifics yet. Safety time, and I'm going to be direct because I've seen too many people get caught off guard by February's severe weather when they're focused on holiday plans. If you're in the severe weather zone Saturday, have multiple ways to receive warnings: phone alerts, weather radio, local TV. Don't rely on just one source. Know where your safe room is before you need it. Basement? Interior closet? Lowest floor away from windows? Have that conversation with your family tonight, not Saturday. For the potential snow zone in the Northeast, charge your devices, have flashlights and batteries ready, and if the European model verifies, you could be dealing with significant accumulation. Check on elderly neighbors and family members who live alone. A quick phone call to make sure they're prepared could be the difference between someone being okay and someone struggling. Pets come inside when temperatures drop into the 20s and below. If it's too cold for you to stand outside for 15 minutes, it's too cold for your dog. Keep an emergency kit in your vehicle. Blankets, water, flashlight, phone charger. Getting stranded in these temperatures can go from inconvenient to dangerous fast. If you're traveling for Valentine's Day weekend, check conditions constantly. Sierra passes may close, flights could be disrupted across the south, and Northeast roads could get ugly. Here's what I'm watching over the next 72 hours. These are the 4 things that should be on your radar too. Number 1, the European versus GFS battle for the Northeast. Tonight's model runs could shift the forecast dramatically in either direction. I'll have an update first thing tomorrow. Number 2, severe weather Saturday and Sunday from Texas through Alabama. Damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, and flooding rainfall are all on the table. Number 3, the atmospheric river keeps pounding the Sierra Nevada. 122 inches over 10 days is remarkable and genuinely great news for drought relief out west. Number 4, the long-range pattern shows more storm opportunities through late February. We are not done with winter weather season by a long shot. All right, here's my prediction for this weekend, and I want you to screenshot this so you can hold me accountable in tomorrow's update. I think the European model verifies closer to reality than the GFS, meaning we will see accumulating snow somewhere along the I-95 corridor by Sunday night. I'm not calling for the full 1 to 2 feet the European shows, but I do think we see measurable accumulation from somewhere between DC and Boston. The exact bullseye is still uncertain. For severe weather, I think Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning produces at least 1 confirmed tornado somewhere in the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas corridor. If I'm wrong on these predictions, I'll own it Monday. That accountability is how you know you can trust what I'm telling you. What region would you like me to go deeper on tomorrow? I'm seeing lots of requests for Northeast snow analysis and Texas severe weather breakdown. Let me know in the comments. If you found this forecast valuable, a like genuinely helps more people find this information when significant weather is approaching. It really does make a difference. If you know someone in the severe weather zone or the potential snow zone, do me a favor and send this to them. Having accurate information ahead of time could make all the difference. We do daily updates when weather is active like this, so subscribe and hit the bell if you want to stay informed through Valentine's Day weekend and beyond. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the overnight model runs. If the European and GFS start agreeing, we'll know a whole lot more about what's actually coming. The community in these comments has been incredible this winter. Folks sharing real-time reports, checking on each other, tagging friends and family. That's what this is all about. Stay safe out there, enjoy your Valentine's Day plans, but stay weather aware and keep an eye on the sky if you're in the areas we discussed today. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning with the latest updates.